Can you hear my voice? You should also be able to. If someone would let me know that everything is functioning appropriately, I would appreciate it. Yes, Dennis, thank you. Wonderful Wednesday. Good to see you as always. Let me just make sure everything else is set up here the way that I like it. Yes, thank you, Tom. Good afternoon to you, sir. Welcome out, everybody, to the Tradespoon live trading room, stocks and options, closing bell. My name is Scott. If you're new or we haven't had a chance to meet, hang out, and discuss the market together, I am the head trading coach here at Tradespoon. Good afternoon, Fred. Thank you. It's good to see you. All right. A little bit about me. I've been trading for a while, teaching for a while. I also have revolving slides. Sometimes my trading experience is 20 years, teaching 16. Sometimes my trading is 24 and my teaching is 20. The greater number is more accurate, but my slides revert. I don't know why they don't save. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening here. Here's the disclosures, but that's me, a little bit about me. Somewhere between 16 and 24 years of various trading and or coaching / mentoring experience. These are the disclosures. Be careful out there. Obviously, trading's risky. We're not advisors, yada, yada, yada. And let's get into it. All right. Well, bullish day today. Very bullish day today, as of right now. There's a lot of buildup. A lot of buildup around NVIDIA earnings, which are coming out this afternoon. And it seems like we've got a little bit of a buy the rumor type situation going on. I have a hedge trade on. I've already booked some profit on it, but the what is open now is at a loss. If anyone else, is anyone hedged? Let me know if you did hedge, are hedged, all of it, some of it. And quite honestly, even after what we see now, I see another hedge signal setting up. So, you know, my systems are still flashing warning lights at me saying, hey, be careful. Be careful. Have small hedges, only small now. I mean, they don't need to be big if you don't have a lot of bullish trades on. And I would expect, for the most part, maybe that you don't. I don't. I haven't for a little bit. My market posture's now dropped for 3 straight weeks, 4 if you count a little drop, but I don't. So 3. Even on the first drop, the first time I lose ground, I'm like, oh, that's not good. What's going on? And then now I'm a little bit more skeptical, a little bit more reserved. I need to see a second week, even more so. Now it's like, okay, 3 weeks in a row. Now I'm starting to see enough weakness that I'm like, this could be correction territory. So as of right now, with my posture decreasing as much as it has, I'm still like, I'm not convinced. Let's see if there's some volume with this, or is it a house of cards that's easy to blow over? There you go. Took some profits on bearish IWM trades. Now looking for another entry. Love it. Agreed. Right? For me personally, the market posture number tells me my overall posture. The direction of the market posture tells me my trading posture. So with my direction getting steadily worse, my trading posture is definitely more to the downside. Or increasingly moving that way. I mean, I'm not saying, oh, I've been bearish going. No, I've got some puts on. I'm looking to do some more. Because if this is going to be a correction, then I have gotten out of all my bullish trades. Everything's shut down for the most part. You know, might be 1 or 2 open here or there, 1 or 2 that are new. Half of a trade still lingering that hasn't fallen apart. Not much. There wasn't much to hedge. The hedge is really more speculative than it is hedge at this point. So S&P up 1.14, Dow only 0.5%, NASDAQ 1 3/4, just smashing back. And I'll tell you what, I'm seeing signs that are starting to even, I'm getting conflicting signals. The VIX still shows escalation, but I'm starting to see little bits that I'm like, oh, that might be it. If this little pattern completes itself, that might be it. Neither is confirmed yet, though, right? Neither has given me actual confirmation of anything having happened. So, okay. Seasonals say bounce through September. Yep. What pattern? Dennis, the pattern. The break the consolidation, at least same high, hopefully a bit of a higher high followed by the higher low that says buyers have regained control, right? Stella says lower on IWM. Still seeing Yahoo. Yeah, we haven't moved on to that yet. We're still talking about this. We haven't moved to the charts just yet. I'm just saying I won't do something without we're seeing bullishness here. Yeah. So I'm saying I'm not going to trade on this. This is just possibly okay, the bulls are trying to regain control. I don't know if they're going to regain control. I got to see more at this point. Retailers brace for student loan repayment shock. So they're saying that when student loan repayments kick back in, there's going to be a significant decline possibly in retail spending. Interesting, huh? That's something to be on the lookout for. I hadn't thought about that. I'm trying to think. Like, what I want to know is how much is that monthly that is going to be taken away from spending. That's a pretty big one, actually, when you think about it, right? Especially for lower to lower middle class, where all of their discretionary spending was created by the deferment period for student loans, and when that deferment period ends and they have to start making those payments again, that discretionary money dries up very, very quickly, right? Okay. What else is happening? We have it's Nvidia. They face, so that's a little ominous right there that we're buying. We're up almost 2%. We'll see what Nvidia is when we look at our list. All on these expectations. That's a lot. So, I mean, they really have to smash it. And if they don't, think about what that disappointment might bring. So let's really take things with a grain of salt. Inverted yield curve. It's too early. They still think a recession may be coming. Yeah, we'll see. What else? CD rates climb to new record. They'll go even higher. Recession fears have been blown out of the water. Okay. All right. Economic calendar. What do we have going on? Today, we had better than expected home sales. Services and manufacturing dipped a little, but these aren't really that big of reports. Tomorrow, jobless claims still in a fine place. And then we'll see expecting the durable goods order to drop, starting when we'll see some comments coming from the economic symposium in Jackson Hole. Friday, Jerome Powell gives his speech. So it's not a lot of news, but there's a lot of expectations built into what we have, particularly for one company that is highly into the AI space. Okay, so where did my Tradespoon go? Let me move this over here. Let's get this ready. Next. Stella still says the same thing I'm saying. And that is that I'm concerned about a little bit more upside potential. She says up to 444.5 even. Where are we now? 443. So she's pretty spot on, saying that, yes, there's a little bit more upside, but the other shoe drops coming behind it. This is definitely something that I am concerned about as well. I'm not saying this is what I predict. I really don't trade that way. I have to trade off of an assumption that this is what's likely to happen. I still need this part here to occur where it tops out and starts to roll over. We're still waiting for that if that happens. But what I'm saying is the AI, objectively mathematical model, sees the same thing that I see from my somewhat more subjective technical analysis. Confluence. That's what I like to refer to it as. QQQ. Same thing. It's slowed down, and I said I see some slowdown signals in Microsoft, in Apple, in other areas. Some resilience out of the chips, not from the AI stocks yet. Those are still getting beat up a little bit. In fact, those still comprise where I think if it does accelerate bearishly, there may be more to give back still on those AI stocks. So, that is definitely a sign. Carmen says she bought a put too soon. Look, I bought puts early because I got signaled to do so as a hedge. I'm still going to hang on to it because the market is still in an elevated volatility environment, according to my analysis. Not according to my that's not. I mean, I did create the analysis, but it's objective. I've got a higher high and a higher low. That's objective. That's not my opinion, right? So I'm okay with having some puts that are going a little against me today. If you're going to hedge and you're going to catch some things, you're going to have to sit through some things. Your ability to just jump in, catch the perfect put in a rising volatility market, please set appropriate expectations for yourself that are achievable. Because if you're thinking you're going to just start catching them you got to put it on and you've got to have some conviction in the position where it might go against you for 2 or 3 days and then bam, bam, it goes so hard and fast that if you waited, there's no way you would have made that trade. You can't catch that. It fell out of a window, right? But sometimes it teeters first. Oh, almost fell. And when arms are rolling up the windows, and then boom, it falls. So, you can see the model still looking for downside on the S&P, still looking for downside on the QQQ. DIA. Okay, so the Dow, the model's it may have a little bit more strength here. What does that mean? Well, if the Dow is showing strength while the NASDAQ is showing weakness, that is defensive posturing. That's money flowing out of technology, more aggressive technology flowing into large caps, the safe havens that are going to hold up better if we do move into corrective and or possibly bear market territory, right? So, this doesn't necessarily change my posture on the market, but say, we'll see. IWM, small caps, that's another one that tends to lead. And what is it forecasting? More to the downside, right? Money's going to flow out of our more speculative market components, small caps, technology, and flow into more stability. And that's just simply large cap companies for the most part, right? So overall, I would say that the model is more inclined bearishly, just like overall me. Okay. Give me 1 second here. All right. We got through all of them. What does the perfect couple, Bob says, me and stuff? Well, we're committed to each other. We're not going to give up on this. We're going to work through it. Going through some therapy, trying to improve our communication issues. Yeah, we've all been there. Seasonal charts. And the seasonal charts continue to impress. A little ahead of schedule, right? Maybe expecting a little more consolidation, then the dip. We had a minor consolidation, then the dip. So these dips are a few days off right here. Come on. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're at an 84% correlation. And right now we're starting to get a bounce. Now, is it going to bounce a little bit and then pull back and then get higher? Right? Or is it going to go back and do something like this? And then we definitely are concerned over here. So that's what has me thinking. Now, what is this going to look like? I'm going to say jittery, right? Could move around a little bit, could continue to look down. Overall, what I know is that we're still 5 more weeks into what is the historically worst 2 months in the market, right? Okay. Let's just make sure that is in the soup as an ingredient so we process how it all tastes. All right. Okay. Here is today's heat map. Where is it coming in? NVIDIA, Google, right? Our biggies. These are the ones that were leading us back in March, and everyone's like, oh, there's only 7 stocks moving. It can't carry the market. Sure as hell did. It's the starting point, right? What we know is that 7 stocks that aren't those 7 stocks definitely can't do it. But if those 7, Apple, Microsoft, NVIDIA, Google, Meta, Amazon, Tesla, I'm throwing NVIDIA in. Usually it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe it is NVIDIA still. Maybe that was the 7th they were talking about. Maybe it was Netflix. I can't remember now. But even Netflix there, right? So those are the core. Look how big those boxes are. They make up a big chunk of the market overall. Can I switch this to World Full Exchange Traded Funds? No, okay. Thought I could make an easy transition to the NASDAQ. But overall, what do we have? We've got energy coming back down. Oh, I'll tell you what, I did take a loss on an energy trade. It looked like that's where the momentum was going. Got a good signal, and then it just faltered. What are you going to do? Sometimes you eat the bear, and sometimes the bear eats you. Nike's getting beat up, but overall, it's mostly green today. But mostly green when the market's, in kind of consolidative territory. It's not that impressive just yet. We'll look at each of these to see, do they look bullish or are they just kind of still in their consolidations? Have they broken their consolidations? That would be good news for sure. Fed Watch, we're at 88.5% that think stays the same. 11.5% think raise it 1/4 point. Already, look where we are. We're down to 27 days. It was like 42 days. We blinked. 42, 50. All right. Let's go look at what's going on. SPY. So we did break the 50 to the downside on increased volume. We're now testing above the 50. We still have 40 minutes for this thing to drop back below, potentially. And even if it's above it, the question is, did it break, quote unquote? Did it break the 50? Just because it closed above it doesn't mean it broke it. For me to have a broken level, whether it's a support or resistance level or to break a moving average, it needs to have the qualifications of a break, which are this. Number 1, that it closed at or near the high, if it's a bullish breakout, or the low, if it's bearish. So if I have a pretty decent shadow, I'll be like, wait a second, that's not a breakout. The sellers closed the market. It didn't hold at the high. Number 1. Number 2, it has to actually break the level, right? So that's kind of a given. Number 3, it's got to do it on above average volume. Now, I'm not like I've got 150%. I'm not that. Honestly, above average. 105, 110 even. Especially coming off of, so for example, if you look yesterday, average is 76 million. Yesterday, there was 65. So even if it got to average or a little just above average because it had been dropping, it went from 68 to 65, and then all of a sudden it goes 105, I'd be like, yeah, that's a big deal, right? All of a sudden it goes 85, 90 million. That's a big deal. What's our volume at 120? Well, 322 Eastern. It's at 44 million off of 74. Like 60%, right? It doesn't look like it is going to meet the volume requirement of above. It's going to be well below average and below previous days volume. So is that a break? No, not for me. It's not. Not with that characteristic. Does it have to be a break? Is it possible that I would look at this and say it didn't break, and then the next day it goes a little higher, makes a doji, and then it makes a doji, and then it pulls back for a day, and then another day, and then a doji, and then that's a low, that's a higher low. Can I get a higher low with a trade without ever actually, confirming a breakout? Yeah, of course. I might not be convinced it's a breakout, but then all of a sudden it sets up and confirms a higher low. I'd be like, yeah, no, that's good. We're good here. That's the pattern. There you go. Okay. Oh my God, that's crazy. Bob said Wagner Group leader Yevgeny Prigozhin was on the passenger list of a plane that crashed. Witnesses say shot down by missiles. Of course it was shot down by missiles. I mean, I got to say, I'm wondering how that guy lived as long as he did. I would have thought like 5 days after the whole debacle ended, his head would be on a spike out in front of the Kremlin. No. That is an interesting story, man. Okay. Yeah. But as of now, what do I have? I don't have anything yet because I don't have volume. I'm not going to get volume. 24 minutes. We're not going to get, I bet we get at best to 57, 60 million, right? Somewhere in there, which is a drop from yesterday's. Hard to be like, oh, look, the buyers are taking control. Not to mention, we'll see. Okay, let's get a quiz going here. What time is it? I'm a little slow, but at the same time, I have less expectations that we're going to be slapping trades on. All right, A's. Doesn't have to break the high, but it's got to get back to these highs. That's for the A's. B's, I'm going to give you there. Boom. C's, you're down here. Let's get some numbers. That is 443 and change, right? 443.15, we'll call it. If someone will remember. 442. 442.45. 442.45. 60, 70 cent range. Okay, 70 cent range. ABC. Dennis came out swinging quickly. He's a B. Fred is a B. Martine is a B. Bob is an A. LK is a B. When my son was like, I don't know, 3 or 4, I bought him this T-shirt. It was this super cool T-shirt. Had a picture of Bob Marley on it. It said B is for Bob. What 3-year-old shouldn't have a Bob Marley shirt? Come on. Brad is an A. No C's today. Let's go see what Stella thinks. Give me your answer. Give me your answer out there. Don't be shy. I want to raise quiz show participation rates. What do I need to do? Do we need trophies instead of gold medals? Done. These are now trophies. These are now golden cups, shiny. Your name is engraved on it. I mean, obviously it's metaphorical, but it's beautiful. Cups. Quiz show champion cups. That's what's on the line today. Does that help improve Participation rates? Come on. What's it going to take for you to want to join in? Give me an answer. ABC. I'm going to get Stella's. Whatever it takes, I'm going to do it. I am committed to the quiz show. I'll give my answer here in a minute too. Stella. Oh, let's see. No? What am I on here? That's not it. Intraday. My passionate pleas for increased participation levels didn't work. Stella says sideways, 4 p.m., 4:43:05, 4:43:05. Ooh, she says it's gonna be a B, but it's gonna be close. You know what? I think that I'm gonna take the under on this one. I want the first golden cup to be mine and mine alone. I'm a C. It's coming down. We're going to end up back in this range. I'm going to put it at 442.20. A little false breakout here. And then everyone's going to be like, what if the earnings are bad? And it's going to sell off, and we're going to end up down back in this area. I'm a C. Oh, Tom joined me. Tom wants a piece of that first golden cup. Oh, it's going to be magnificent. Randall's a B. Tom and I are going to be so happy with our cups, you guys. Let me get back. It does look bullish today. And then you look at that volume and it looks unconvincing. Convince me I'm wrong. That's a fake out to me. It's a little head fake. Don't jump. Keep your feet on the ground. Don't jump for the head fakes. We just look silly, right? You gotta keep your feet on the floor here. All right. Let's see what the VIX says about this head fake. How about that? Yeah, I mean, we pushed up, but how much have the institutions been willing to relinquish their hedges? That's the question we're asking here, right? We're down here, everything's good. All of a sudden we get this pop up. We're like, wait a second. Comes back down. We're like, boom. Goes again. Pops up. Now we're up here, right? VIX is at the low for the day. You're not wrong about that. I'm not disputing that at all. That definitely for the day supports more bullishness on the day. What I'm looking at is where that low is relative to our previous low. Boom. 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 Right? 1, 2. Oh, sorry. One more C. Carmen is joining Tom and I. Starting a new collection of gold quiz show champion cups. Collector's editions, obviously. Yeah. So if we stabilize even, but then bounce Friday and this thing turns 20, I say that's a good thought for. Oh, come on, Scott. That's a terrible line. I thought I had the right button pushed. That's the line I meant to draw. A little better. Yeah, at least. But remember that our fear is always acceleration. That would actually look almost in line with like this, where it's like, oh, it's just trending up. I'm like, at some point, we're going to see up here come. So whether that's immediately or if we come up, down, and then get there, right? We did say that there could be a little bit of a one last double dip based on what we saw on the cyclical chart. But if we're going to get an actual correction where we're down 10% from highs for the SPY, that puts it around 416. The VIX is most likely going to get up into this upper 20 area, which again, you might be like, oh, that's so bearish. It's not that bad. It's not that bad at all. relatively speaking. It would be enough that I'd be like, yeah, okay, we corrected. Now we can stabilize. Now I can still have a nice bullish October, November, December, little Santa rally, fall. Love the fall markets. Tends to be pretty good. Let's see. But yeah, this is for the short term, for the rest of August and into September. How about a bull put spread on the VIX? I mean, yeah, you could. I tend to prefer to trade the SPY. More liquid, more participation, tighter spreads. You can see the volatility is high here overall, but it's actually quite low relative to where it's been. So if you put a bull put spread on and the volatility rises into that spread, if you put that on, remember that a bull put spread is vega negative, which means that its sensitivity to changes in implied volatility is to the downside. That's the preferred direction. If the implied volatility drops, the bull put spread profits. If the implied volatility rises, and you can see when the VIX spikes, the volatility rises. Bam. Right? When the VIX spikes, the volatility rises. Bam. When the VIX spikes, the volatility rises. Bam. What does rising volatility do to a negative vega? It hurts it. Yeah, it hurts it. So in that regard, now remember also that if we're expecting things to get negative, we expect negative to accelerate in time. Walk upstairs, fall out windows. Walk upstairs, fall out windows. So we would expect it to go faster, where a bull put spreads, one of the advantages is theta positive. It makes money from time. So the longer you're in the trade, the better it is for you. But if you're only in the trade for a few days or a week, it's not going to be as beneficial. So yeah, I mean, certainly it's a possibility. My preference is 100% going to be buying puts on the SPY, right? A bearish trade on the SPY is what I use to execute a bullish signal on the VIX. Wouldn't the magnitude of the move in the VIX trump the rising volatility? No. You would have to look at it. This is just like anything else. You would be able to go into the model and you'd be able to say this time, I mean the option pricing model in Thinkorswim, and you'd be able to say, okay, what if the index in this case goes from 16.5 to 26? But the implied volatility goes from 88 to 120. That's going to have an enormous impact on the trade. And then you could say, and what if? So what's happening is you have one variable. We've got three key variables in our options trading: delta, theta, vega. Delta tells us how much does the option gain or move based on stock price movement. So that's a primary consideration. Do we think it's going up or down? In this case, bull put spread, delta positive. You think it's going up. Then we have theta. How does it respond to time? If you buy something that's theta negative, you're going to lose money on time. So if you're buying something, you want the time to expire very quickly. If you're selling something, bull put spread, iron condor, even a butterfly could technically fit in there, which bends the rules a little. But if you're doing that type of a trade, the time is positive, theta positive. The longer you're in the trade, the more money you make. It's not by a lot though, right? So it's like if you're in it for 5 days, you got a little bump, but it's not much. That's if you're maybe going to be in a trade for 2 or 3 weeks. As you get closer to expiration, the amount of time decay you earn starts to accelerate. That's a great way to improve probability. But right now, we're talking about something bearish happening. Volatility escalating. Right now, if you look back at this time that it escalated, you got 3 days. 1, 2, 3. And then it gave a bunch back, and then it popped, and then it gave a bunch back, and then it popped, and then it gave a bunch back. And you would have gotten whipsawed like a madman, right? I would want to be out in here and then done. Like, okay, let's see what happens next. And by the time this comes, which is a lower high, followed by another lower high, followed by another lower high, right? And then sometimes we didn't get them, but we still got some help. Another lower high. I want to be trading bullishly when the volatility is de-escalating. So that's the answer to the question between puts and spreads. You got to make sure that you're lining up as your variables: price, time, volatility. The last one being volatility, Vega. If I think volatility is going to rise, I want to be long Vega, which means buy an option, buy a put. When I buy a put and volatility rises, it's pumping value in, pumping value in. And if I get it quickly, I don't have to worry about time working against me. So in that situation, I have Delta and Vega working for me, and I'm not concerned about Theta because I don't expect to be in the trade for more than hopefully 5 to 7 days, maybe 10 at most, right? Okay. What's the pawn? The pawn is time. I'm willing to sacrifice time to make sure I get the delta of the drop. Those puts are going to accelerate dramatically as they're going the right direction. And I want the Vega. The volatility is going to pump a ton of value into the time component of the trade. In order to get those two things, I have to sacrifice being theta positive. If I want to be theta positive, I'm going to sacrifice volatility, or I'm going to sacrifice price, right? Whatever trade you build, you want to make sure you know what's the pawn. All right, let's crack on to the watch list. Unfortunately, Fred, I don't think I'm going to have time to go through a comparison, but highly recommend you doing that on your own. He said, can we look at the VIX? Sure. Apple. So this is where I'm thinking to myself, hey, Apple, you sly guy, you seem to be breaking above this little level right here. There's no volume. So, you know, oftentimes I'll be like, oh, look, and there's volume. No volume. But we busted up out of this thing. Let's see. I mean, if we get back here to the 50 now from here, then my thought is it pulls back. And now I have a shoulder, head and shoulders. But remember, head and shoulders doesn't technically exist until after that. I want to catch it here on the higher low. Okay, this looks promising. We were heading down pretty steep, then it started to stabilize. Now I would say this is a potential breakout without volume. We're at or near the high for the day. We penetrated the line. Even still, though, I'm not like, oh, I'm going to trade this breakout. No interest in that. I want to wait for the retest. Okay. Aflac still going down, nothing for us. AI still going down, nothing for us, right? Even though it's been up for 3 out of 4 days, it's still lower here. So maybe this is my new consolidation, and they think it's gonna might move like this. I don't know yet. What I do know is it hasn't. If you notice, Apple busted above its previous high already, and we're like, oh, look at that. Subtle but different. Yeah, subtle but different. AIG still on its consolidation down, nothing there. AMAT, I like AMAT. I think it did. I think it broke out of this consolidation. This did have volume. Obviously, it was motivated by earnings, but I don't care. Great. The earnings were good enough. It motivated it to break to the upside. Now what? Now thinking, does this consolidate back down? Anything in here is a higher low that if it comes in and starts to turn, there it is. Thank you. I love a good discussion on the Greeks. Fred, I'm always ready to have a good discussion on the Greeks. I'm known to be a lot of fun at parties because I'll always be like, oh, you want to discuss deltas and thetas and Vegas, maybe even a little gamma. I don't know. No, I don't. I don't go to parties. I stay home. All right. Thank you. I appreciate that feedback. Let's keep going and seeing if anything. So that's Applied Materials. Let's look at NVIDIA now since they're together. I mean, they both have that same look. They've already kind of busted out. And it's like, wait a second. However, I can't trade this. I can't trade on the eve of earnings. I can't get it when it's overbought. I need this. Or if we're looking at Applied Materials, right? Where are you, Applied Materials? Come on down. Almost exactly the same thing, right? Same level, a little faster. I need it to pull back. Give me the higher low. Hey, can NVIDIA and Applied Materials lead chips and chips lead technology, especially when we're already starting to see some signs of life in Apple? Yeah. So that's the other side. I have a potential VIX signal setting up, and I have technology starting to show signs of rebound already. What was the lowest the VIX got? I'm going to call it 388. Nope, that's not what I meant to do. Let's go 388. Our lowest point over here was 354.71. 354.71 divided by 388. 8.5. So the VIX or the NASDAQ, correction's 10. We got 8.5. We may have gotten it. It may be it. We said we don't know. Is it deep consolidation? Is it correction? Correction's 10. We hit 8.5. It's starting to show some recovery signs. Let's be open to it, right? I think we need to. That would be my idea. Where was I? Amazon. Still in its downward, right? That hasn't recovered enough. That's barely back to these old highs over here. So that's a no for me. Not yet. Boeing, lower low, lower high, right? Industrials kind of got a little ahead of themselves. Is there a chance that this drops, giving us a little bit of a bear flag, and we drop again? I don't know, somewhere down into this range or so. I think so. I'm open to it for sure. BLDR is looking a little better, but even still, there's nothing convincing enough there yet. If I don't have a higher low on these industrial stocks, there's absolutely no way. Same thing with like even Blackstone. It kind of, this one was interesting because it popped up a little bit, all in the same move, but I would actually still argue that this consolidation is intact. There's nothing there yet. I want to see something more convincing of a higher low pattern. What time is it? Okay, we're okay. Nothing here yet. Copart, industrial. Now, again, we had a split. Volume is not great today. Doesn't matter. It broke the consolidation, right? Broke it. Bing. Does it have to have volume? No, but it's still not confirmed. What's going to confirm it? When it slows down, when it retraces, and then when it turns and it gives me the higher low, period. That happens frequently enough and is, in my opinion, the best pattern to trade. So I'm always going to wait for it. I'm not going to deviate from that expectation. Once something is consolidating, I need a full 3-step process to indicate the recovery is complete and the buyers have regained control, right? That's it. That's the thought process. Okay. Let's keep going. I'm gonna have to speed up a little bit here. What time is it? No, we're okay. We're okay. Energy, I still like this one. I would still consider it, but energy did kind of bite me. The Dow's trying to hold up a little bit here. DraftKings So AI stocks, if this market turns again, I'm looking for things that are falling apart. And this is kind of falling apart. It broke its 50, tested the 100. From the 100, bounced back to the underside of the 50. What's next? 200. You'll see this pattern several times throughout our chart. In fact, maybe even this next one here. Ooh, it's close. Not quite on the same line, but it's the same concept, right? Same concept. Even now, you're like, oh, but look at that white candle. Look at that white candle. It's at the exact same place yesterday's high was with less volume. Do I expect it to break out with less volume? I do not. So I need more convincing than this. That's a fact, right? And this is another one that I'd be like maybe even willing to consider the other way. Gold. I don't trust you, gold. Gold and I haven't been on good terms for quite a while, to be fair. IBM. So IBM is actually still looking okay. This is one that we've identified. If you had taken a trade here on this signal, yesterday you got tested, but today it's now still a little higher up. So that is one of about 3 stocks that I had identified as potential bulls. Yeah. IBN is a financial foreign and seems to be breaking out of their consolidation. Again, there's no volume. They're not above average volume, but that's okay. I don't need that right now. I just need to see what happens after and on the pullback. And then I'll be like, oh, yeah, there we go. Ready to go. Nice trade in front of us at that point, right? You'll notice over here, I wouldn't trade into this lower low. And I wouldn't even see this as anything. But when the time it got up here, pulled back, clearly a higher low. There's a trade and then another trade. Then it just kind of meandered sideways. Then it broke out again. And then what? Higher low. There's another trade. All of which worked out pretty well. So I'm always willing to give that higher low a consideration. ING, nothing yet. IWM, nothing yet. Looks like it's going to bounce off the underside of that. JP Morgan, still going down. Meta. Consolidation has not been broken for me. This consolidation is still intact. It has to get higher still, then the pullback, then I would trade it. Anything less, I'm a spectator. There's no need. Why would I force trades on this? I'm fine watching it, right? I'm a spectator for now. It's a good show. Okay, let's keep going. MPC holding up, but barely. Morgan Stanley is a dog, just a dog. Microsoft, okay, Microsoft, show us something. Show us something good. What do I have here? I have broken consolidation without volume, so it's not convincing yet, but certainly that consolidation has broken. Let's see what happens. Let's see on the pullback. Maybe we do get a little bit of a recovery on the NASDAQ. I'm open to it. I'm ready for it. Okay. That's my story on a couple of market movers. Cruise lines. I've got RCL on here. We'll see that sucker here in a second. MTG. Oh, that was one that I was like, if it could turn. At this point, I don't know. Even if it turns now, it's kind of giving it all back, and it makes me feel like that's more likely to head and shoulder than anything else. Netflix, not quite yet for me. But right now, I'm going to say no. NVIDIA, we got to wait for the earnings. That's going to change a lot of things right after we're done here. OXY, no good. PA, lower low, lower high. That's another AI stock that could potentially provide downside opportunity. QQQ. The Qs even seems to do a little bit of a breakout here, right? I'm going to draw this line and be like, oh yeah, we did get a little above there. RCL, maybe. Please delete. Please draw. I don't know. I kind of feel like that's still in line. I would need still a little more than the pullback. Then there's something available. SMCI. Lower lows, lower highs. I mean, it's coming back pretty well, but even still, it's just got too much volatility. Okay. SPY, let's take a look at the internal. Ooh. What was the number? 442.45? 442.45. What's happening here? Oh, those sellers, they're coming in. I'm feeling okay. I know I've only got 6 minutes, but that sell-off is wanting to come in and close this market down. We'll see. We will see. Oh, wait a second. That's not right. 5 minute. 5 minute. Same idea. Right? Same idea. Okay, SYF financials. Let me get back to spike. I'll be like, you know what? How about this? Don't drop below that. Then I'll start to see something. Maybe. Okay. UPS. UPS is just in a bad place. These union negotiations are not going well for the stock price. Workers are maybe getting better compensated, but not the stock price. Upstart. This is actually, it's funny because when this first fell, I'm like, oh, this might be one to try to cap, but it fell so hard and so fast, and now it's in this basing pattern. If this has a little breakout and a pullback, oh, I would absolutely trade this to the upside again. We know there's potential for this back up here to 70, right? We know that. Visa sideways towards the top. The VIX. That VIX is right around the 50, right? More than anything. So yeah, we'll see what happens here. Wayfair, giving it back. Wells Fargo just keeps coming down. Williams Companies, yeah, just that's one that I did take. I liked that one. Took it coming off of this. Patient yesterday, not patient today. Being a little bit, it wasn't a bad loss. Took the loss though, and am I still willing to consider CVE? Yeah, I am. Anybody else trade any energy? It hasn't really held up. This is kind of meandering. Financials continue to head down. XLI continues to head down. Yeah, XLP. And there's no defensiveness looking at XLP and XLU, which we would typically see some stocks. We would typically see some movement into these areas, into these stocks. From a defensive standpoint, we haven't really seen that. So that's good. That's holding up. XOP. So energy hasn't kept moving, but it also hasn't started dropping. So it's just a little bit in a sideways mode. Fred says, okay, bees have the trophy, gotta go. I don't know. We've got 2 minutes left. I'm afraid that this contest will be extended. I'm still got to talk about XOP. Still got to talk about XP. XOP just kind of sideways. Look at XP. XP. Oh, look at XP. That's very strong. Something along those lines. It's good to be a B. Is it gonna be a B? Come on, you guys. Don't mess with me. Let me go see. Let's get down to the 5-minute. Oh, that's some confidence. This candle got down to 442.45. It already touched it. All it has to do is get below 442.45. It's going to be an interesting last minute and 10 seconds. How about that? Comments, questions, definitely let me know. We're in a place still. The market's doing a thing. Is this a market that has gotten increasingly easy to overtrade? Yes, 100%. Right? It would be very easy to end up on the wrong side. Oh, it is looking like it's turning toward the B's. Sellers still have time. You've got 40 seconds. Come on, man. I'm going to get it. 30 seconds. Anything can happen. The market can do funny things. A hedge is potentially setting up, but a recovery out of technology is also potentially setting up. Great. Let's be open and ready with what we would do, whichever one actually comes to fruition, because it's not likely that they both come to fruition at the same time. It's likely to be one or the other. Okay, bees. Okay, bees. You win. You win. Get that nice polished gold trophy engraved with your name. Oh, I really wanted it. All right. It's good to see everybody. I love hanging out with you in the afternoon. The only thing I love more is hanging out with you in the morning. I will see you Friday morning. Coffee, 15 minutes before the market opens. Let's see how this thing plays out. More info coming. Nothing's convincing just yet, but we see a few things developing. Let's see which thing fully develops first. Have a wonderful Wednesday. Also enjoy your Thursday. I will see you Friday. Happy trading.